may merely be a 15-year-old figure, but at least I look like Bludgeon.
What is up, everybody? Nicklegostava here, and in this video I'm going to be comparing and reviewing Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon compared to the brand new Legacy Evolution Bludgeon. Oh wait, this is Tarn. Oh yeah, they just did a lazy recolor. I'm fine with them reusing this mold. It's a pretty good mold. It's a badass mold. But they didn't remold the chest. They didn't... It doesn't even look like Bludgeon. What are you doing? You're dropping the ball. Literally just gave him a sword and a different head sculpt. Other than that, it's literally just Tarn in different colors. So, not going to be purchasing this. This is lazy. I mean, that tank mode is not Bludgeon at all. That's literally Tarn. Okay, so with that out of the way, it's literally the same figure, different colors, different head sculpt, and a sword added. I will be comparing this figure. This is actually a pretty amazing figure, and I will also be showing some 3D print upgrades as well as replacement parts, because getting this figure complete nowadays is expensive. Even not complete, his price is going up. I kind of wish I got this. I wanted to get this last year. I actually wanted to get this way back when it released. I remember seeing it at Target on sale once, and I just didn't pull the trigger for some reason. But that would have got sold with my original Transformers collection in 2017 anyway. So here I am. I finally have this figure, and it's honestly a glorious figure. My main gripes with this figure are the face sculpt definitely needed more paint apps. It kind of looks a little bit awkward. It kind of looks a little bit wide and weird, like he's like holding his mouth weird. That's definitely a gripe with it, but I will be showing you an awesome fix I already have made for that. As well as the kind of skinny biceps there. They're definitely kind of lanky looking and kind of add some strange proportion issue there. But I will have a 3D print upgrade. I don't have that one done yet, but I want to carry this tread detailing on to the arm right there. But with that out of the way, let's get into this comparison. So the original here has quite a bit going on. Well, this isn't necessarily the original, but this is a transforming tank version of Bludgeon, which the new one is trying to be. Like I said, this is Tarn. Just picture this in orange and freaking green colors, and you already got it there. I'm not going to buy that figure. So right off the bat, this has ankle tilt, of course. This has waist rotation, of course. This Tarn was an amazing mold. I just wish they did more remolding for Tarn, which they didn't because they're super lazy. And the hands even open and close on a Voyager figure. I mean, it's glorious. Bicep swivel, arm bends up like that. Arm has outward, inward, and back and forth shoulder movement. They just couldn't do that on Legacy Megatron, but here they did it on Voyager Tarn. Absolutely great figure, but lazy as Bludgeon. This whole part could have just been remolded to have a more accurate chest, how Bludgeon's supposed to have, but they didn't. I will also be showing pictures of other things to compare to as well. But yeah, this has wrist rotation. This doesn't have wrist rotation, it just has in and out for transformation as he wants to fall backwards. He's definitely a heavy figure. This is chunky. When I get to the weights of both of these, I will be comparing that as well. This does not have ankle tilt, but it does have foot in and out on two different areas. It has it on the top there, it has it, and then it also has it on the foot itself. So yeah, you can definitely move it back and forth a pretty good amount. Definitely a lot more than that one. Sadly, no tilt, but that really wasn't the focus back then. You do have a tilt there with the Mech Alive. You can see the stuff turning there, but really a cool feature of the Mech Alive on this one that I really like is this whole tank part splitting in the back. So this pops out and has this other sword right here. Like I said, mine was missing those, and they're kind of that bendy, rubbery stuff anyway, so I'm fine 3D printing them. And to get this for an actual somewhat decent price without those was fine enough for me, because I knew I was going to 3D print them right away. So yeah, that closes up nicely, but then all those are on gears, and that just opens up and pops that sword right there. It's just amazing. I love that about this original figure. And also this tank part is on like really quality feeling click joints. I mean, you do not get that on modern figures, like even leader class figures. You don't get awesome joints like that anymore. You just don't. And then another pop out accessory on here is this big sword up here. Like I said, all this would be like rubbery kind of crappy plastic on the original, but those were missing. 3D printed, bam. If yours are missing that, I will have those ready to order if you need them. And then the arms here are actually more articulated in some ways here. So that double joint that kind of has that awkward thinness right there, that is double jointed, so you can definitely move the arm up like that. If the sword was tilted over here some, the shoulder could even reach up and grab it from right there. So pretend that sword's there, he can pretend and grab that nicely. And that also has the tilt there. It's like Hasbro forgot to do those joints. They've done it lazily 3 times now. Oh, this figure is great. It's a great figure. They also did a G2 Megatron colorway with, yeah, this original figure right here that they did for Revenge of the Fallen. They also did a deluxe version, but that was just a recolor of Wreckage from the first movie. I don't know, that's just way overpriced on the aftermarket. I'd like it, but I'm not paying the prices people want for that. That's ridiculous. All in all, for an older Revenge of the Fallen era figure, the posability is still pretty decent. Like, he just doesn't have angle tilt. He doesn't have waist rotation. The waist on this it definitely took me a minute to figure out how to transform this, because when I got it, it was like half transformed. And then these are on kind of like springs. You also have this separate area of detail. It's like treads that come down separately. It's just, there's a lot of different layers to this figure that are just cool. So yeah, that's that. And like I said, I want to carry this detailing onto the arm. That would fill that out and just make this so much better. As well as this. Bam! Look at that. Now they had a kit, which I will show pictures of that as well in a moment. But they had this kit that was similar to this head, but I didn't like it as much. And it just costs way too much on the aftermarket to try to get that kit these days. But yeah, this is even just an early prototype, and I'm already liking how this looked. I also even did a Terminator freaking version right there too. I just was kind of brainstorming of what cool different faces he could have, and he could have a freaking Terminator face. That'd be badass. So I did that, and then I did the skull with the piercing red eyes. Yeah, those are gonna look amazing on there. And he could hold this nice long sword. You just pop this piece out, slide that right in his hand, and like I said, the new one does come with one as well. Here that is in that picture right there. You know, it's an alright sword, I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty nice sword, but just that doesn't look like Bludgeon. It doesn't, honestly. Can you tell me that looks like Bludgeon? It don't look like Bludgeon, okay? And I'm not saying it definitely has to look like that. That's a comic picture, but I mean, that's at least a representation of the character. There's the G1 Bludgeon right there. And then this is what this should have been. These drawings right here, I think it's inspired by some like modern comic appearances. This is what the Tarn should have been. They should have remolded some type of area to go around the waist, and at the very least remolded that chest. At the very least, that's what they needed to do for me to buy this figure, is remold that chest into something that looks different. It's so stupid. And then they could have did something a little bit different, or had like a parts forming thing that goes over that to kind of give it some detailing. Like, that would have been an awesome figure right there. That would have been a great Bludgeon. This, what we got, is not it. That is not it. But this right here, I like the Revenge of the Fallen one better. But I'm going to continue this video and get into some more details and then show them in their alt modes, because this one in alt mode is way better than the new one, of course. Alright, got them transformed up. And the same problems will, of course, apply to Bludgeon, since it's the same mold. These two parts that are not supposed to pop off pretty easily popped off right here on my copy. These tread pieces, they're on a thing right there. At least that part's not clear plastic. Can just pop that right back on there and kind of just wiggle. You see, it's just popping off. I mean, I have that transformed properly, but it's not even wanting to transform properly. So then this has to pop back in right there. Of course, that's clear plastic. I mean, I honestly don't even want it. The new one's more fragile, that's for damn sure, but all that's clear plastic. It's the same exact way on Bludgeon right here. There's no reason to transform that Bludgeon figure if you get it. That looks nothing at all like a Bludgeon alt mode. It just doesn't. That's legitimately just Tarn right there. And then right here, Revenge of the Fallen one, that looks like a Bludgeon alt mode. It's a tank. It's the inner robot mode tank of the original Pretender Bludgeon, which, I mean, let's be honest, Pretenders was a pretty lame gimmick, and them just actually transforming and being the cool character that they are makes perfect sense right here. You know, I believe a Japanese tank. I'm not like a tank expert, but I know it's some type of Asian tank. And I gotta say, this transformation, I mean, not only do you not have to do any parts forming, you don't have to take the sword out of there if you want the long barrel. I mean, the snub nose still looks fine too. Yeah, there's no parts forming needed on this original here. And it rolls as well. This new one doesn't have any rolling whatsoever. It literally just slides. It slides along the ground. Yeah, that's really great. You're really gonna just slide that around. But yeah, this is definitely worrisome because this popped off pretty easy, but it definitely doesn't seem as easy to pop back on, and it's clear plastic on top of it. So I'd imagine that same exact problem follows over on Bludgeon as well. I mean, come on. There you go. Pop that back on. I was trying to be careful because it is freaking clear plastic nonsense. But this parts forming piece pops off extremely easy when it's right there pegged into those two things. But yeah, this is an alright Tarn. I gotta say, I mean, the design is alright. It looks way better in robot mode, but it is undeniably Tarn. This is undeniably Bludgeon. That new one is, I mean, there's a way to upgrade the robot mode, which I'll show you right now. Someone already made a 3D print upgrade kit. They did it on Tarn though. They probably didn't even want to buy the Bludgeon figure themselves. But yeah, they made a different chest. They also even made it compatible with that old, I want to say Titan's Return or something or another Bludgeon figure, the little tank figure, and they actually made that be able to pop into the chest. So that's kind of cool, but like I said, this kit, in my opinion, it's overpriced. You know, you still have to print all that. That's all resin printed, so it might not even be optimized for regular printer. It probably would still print fine, but who knows? Yeah, I don't know. If I personally got this myself and personally got the Bludgeon figure and then just still have to do all this on top of it and have the added cost on top of it, like, no hating on this guy. I don't blame people for wanting to get paid for putting in hard work on a design. If anything, I'm promoting this person's design right here, because if someone does end up getting this Bludgeon figure, they already know an upgrade that actually makes them look a little bit more like Bludgeon would, at least in robot mode. There's really not much you can do for that alt mode here. Let's show you the pictures of that as well. Like, there's a lot of 3D printed parts going on there. You know, it's still very much Tarn in that mode. So honestly, in all recommendations, if you want a transforming Bludgeon figure, I still have to go with the Revenge of the Fallen one. The new one, you know, it's just Tarn. They really did not remold enough for it to be Bludgeon like I really hoped they would, because sometimes they will use the same mold and they'll literally like reskin the whole thing. That's really what I was hoping Bludgeon would be, but it's just sadly not the case. So there you go. There's the comparison of these figures. I honestly enjoyed the original Revenge of the Fallen one right here so much that it's honestly entered some of my top favorite transforming figures. Honestly, I'm not even exaggerating. It just looks amazing, and it's a very competent tank as well. I mean, there are, of course, some other mold color choices that are kind of strange. You know, you have the orange from the legs poking out there, you have the gray from the arms poking out there. Like, if that piece was molded in black, that really, you wouldn't be missing much. The arm would be black instead of gray. Other than that, those little things that I could easily do custom paint work on, I mean, it's just great in both modes. And with that custom head, I mean, this original head, it's not awful, but it's definitely wonky. That's how I'll describe the original head, wonky. But 3D print upgrades, 3D print replacement parts if you want to try to get this figure for a decent price while you still can. And that new Bludgeon leaves a lot to be desired. There is Bludgeon with the custom Terminator head. Like I said, this is just a prototype. I definitely have to do some changes to that, but all in all, that looks pretty cool in itself. But let's put the skull head on there. There he is with a couple size comparisons, and wow, this thing just came together pretty well. I mean, I barely have to do any more tweaks to that design to make it look even better. I think I'm gonna make the jaw come down past that neck part a little bit, and that'll blend everything in nicely. There is the Generation Selects G2 Megatron right there. I do know some about the comics, what happened in there. That was pretty cool and interesting. I'd actually thought of a similar idea before I even knew that happened in the comics. I won't spoil it because I think I'm going to implement it in my Transformers series when I get around to making that. But yeah, there it is, a deluxe size Transformer that's considered a voyager. So yeah, there's that. All in all, I still think that this Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon is definitely better than the new one. I mean, maybe not in terms of some of its posability. You know, this, like I said, this Tarn is absolutely amazing. You can get him into pretty much any pose you want, but at the same time, this is just so lazy that I can't reward them with money for getting that figure because it's that lazy. And yes, someone did make a 3D print conversion kit to try to make it somewhat look a little bit more like that. I have discovered that in the process of making this video. but that's like $16 more on top of it, and you have to print it, and you have to paint it, and it's just something you shouldn't have to do, and the figure's already $36 after tax. So that's all stuff that has to be considered. And honestly, the original here with that 3D printed head on it, wow, that's looking amazing. And honestly, let's show you some of these other pictures here. That's what the kit that costs a bunch of money now is. I don't know how much it was back in the day, but there's that kit. It's kind of similar to that, except now it can be 3D printed at will. Bludgeon's definitely a cool, underrated Decepticon, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, see, like that original head sculpt looks a little bit better with some different layers of custom paint. I mean, I don't know, the purple's kind of weird on them, but yeah. There's that. So I definitely recommend getting this mold in some way, like if you want this as Bludgeon or you want the G2 Prime, or why do I always do that? G2 Megatron, not Prime. What the fuck, brain? Get it together, brain. Doing the weight of both figures. The original Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon right here, 6.305 ounces. It just wanted to change there at the last second. So there's that, and that's with the custom head on it, not the original head. Then going on to the new one, 4.380, and then add friggin' 0.2 for the imaginary sword. So there you go. That's my thoughts on this. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I read all the comments, so drop some of them. Have a great one. Be sure to drop a like. If you're new, be sure to subscribe. Peace. Bye-bye. Looks nothing at all like a Bludgeon alt mode. That is legitimately just Tarn. Like, there's no reason, like, if you get this Bludgeon figure, there's no reason to even transform it. Like, this one right here, this Revenge of the Fallen, actually looks like Tarn. Like, I'm getting confused. Bludgeon. This actually looks like Bludgeon. His inner robot mode, which they just decided to make him in. So yeah. Then the new one would weigh. That's not correct. I fucked up this kit. Come on. Oh my god, I just need to die. How did I fuck this up? I pressed the wrong button and fucked it up. I'm just gonna shoot myself in the fucking head. Got this head off, and they definitely were gonna do light piping on this head. This just confirms it 1000%. Because that whole gray piece would have been red and they would have had light piped eyes, but they decided against it. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely custom paint this. And I could easily, if I wanted to, match all of these like burgundy-ish reds. It's kind of like an even darker burgundy on the original. I kind of like this custom paint one that I did. I could easily do those parts of the arms in that color too if I wanted to, because they're nicely on screws and not pins. I could easily just unscrew them.